McGill, and this is Making an Impact, where I interview different people in the Christian community making an impact. Today we have David Hucks, founder of Mogul Elite. So Dave, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from? How old are you?
Okay, I'm from Washington, D.C. I'm 51. I grew up in the DMV area, really, Maryland and Virginia, but I mean Maryland and D.C., but mainly Washington, D.C.
Okay. When did you give your life to Christ, and how has your journey been so far?
I mean, really a long time ago.
Okay.
Everything is up and down. It's up and down. You know, my father was a bishop, and him and my mother raised 10 boys and 1 girl.
10 boys and 1 girl, okay.
Yes, I'm the youngest of the boys. My sister came last. Because, mom was trying to get the girl, so she finally got the girl.
Okay, so can you explain the ups and downs? Just give us a little bit of...
I mean, raising a bunch of young kids and stuff like that, and trying to get them to go to church every day.
That's a lot of people.
Yes. Well, he had vans, and he had limousines, and limousine drivers. Sometimes it'd be like 2 cars to get us to church.
Okay.
But, the ups and downs is, the Bible tells us that, you raise a child up in the way that they may go, and they won't depart from it. So it's like him instilling that value in us. The hills and the ups and downs come from him putting it in us, and then we get into a teenage age or older, and we rebel from everything.
Right.
And then we all come back, based on all the experiences that we had from the streets.
Just
and
like
different things.
the prodigal son. Okay.
Exactly. Like all my brothers who went through everything they went through, I had brothers who dealt with substance abuse and, just getting in the streets, doing a lot of things that we did. But in the end, we all came back to, the original source, which was, God and Christ and Jesus.
So when did you find out your God-given purpose?
Well, I found out my God-given purpose at a very young age. Because when I was probably like 8 and 7, we were cleaning cars and, going to the thrift stores, getting albums, selling them. So I always had a gift for doing different things. But the gift that I truly had was probably like in 1998. I met this guy, and he kind of took me to a computer studio in Greenbelt. And I was trying to get away from a lot of stuff. And he showed me the ropes, and that's when I got into the fashion and the clothing and stuff. And then in the end, what happened initially is I wanted to do graphics, I wanted to do fashion, and I seen that I could do it well, because growing up with a lot of brothers, you see a lot of people dressing in the house, and all my brothers, knew how to dress and knew how to style. So that's part of it right there.
Okay, and you've been in the fashion industry for how long now? I've
been in the fashion industry now for about, I keep talking about 18 years. It's really 20 years just been inside of the fashion world where I didn't have to, do any of it. Like now it's been, I say about 20 years now.
Okay.
About 20 years.
Okay, so how did you come up with the name Mogul Elite?
Well, I've been doing fashion. It was originally Ghetto Hills Technology.
Okay.
Ghetto Hills was stood for going hard even through troubles, overcoming heartaches in life, learning to survive. That was the push that got me to Mogul Elite Fashions. It was Ghetto Hills. I was selling clothes from 98 to 99. I was able to get a store. I've been in the industry helping other people build their clothing line around 2001. Now, I had a 10-year hiatus, and this is an important thing because when you stretch that long, I wasn't doing any clothes. I was just the mastermind behind some of the biggest clothing lines and stuff that came out of the DC area. And as I began to design stuff for other clothing lines, from 2001 to about 2009, I wasn't doing no clothes. So for almost 10 years, it was like trying to get an old boxer back in the ring, like, are you gonna fight again? So around 2010, I decided to come back. But the reason is Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook emerged. Instagram wasn't out. And I was like, what is this social media thing? And people were Like, well, we do our homework on it, and but you could talk to other people here, there. I was like, what? So as I began to see how Facebook was working around 2009 and 10, I was like, seeing that people were trying to put their stuff on there. So I said, I can probably put some clothes on here and see what the reaction. I didn't do Mogul. I did Ghetto Hills, but it brought it back in their attention. So around 2013, I decided to come up with Mogul Elite because everybody called me the Mogul.
Okay.
Ever since they know me, they was like, man, you know so much, man. You got so much going on. Man, you can't even do it, man. That's the Mogul. And there was a guy named Demont Picasso, the one who painted the picture of my mother.
Okay.
He was a young guy. And he used to, every time he see me, he said, there you go, the Mogul. So I think around 2013, I was contemplating on leaving my business and just doing private business, and I wasn't going to do anything. And I was about to leave my job, leave my business where I was and everything. And God gave me a vision. I was sitting on my office, sitting at my office, and I was looking up at the picture on the wall that Demont Picasso painted. That's why our two worlds that intertwine of being around each other at the same time. I know that me and him was meant to cross each other's path because his painting that he painted of me years earlier, I looked at the painting and I was like, oh my goodness. And I saw that he had one side of me, he had a spirit going around my head on the painting, and he said the creator, meaning God, and he had my father's church, and he had me on the other side pointing and said the Mogul. And as I was about to leave a business, give up, I'm talking about, I'm crying and everything, and like, man, you brought me this far, God, I don't know what's going on. And he said the Mogul. And I said, Mogul? I said, you know what? God was like, wipe your tears. This is what I, made you for. Deuteronomy 8:18. He's given us the ability to obtain wealth. And also, he's, everything he's put inside of us is for us to activate. So in that moment, I just was like, I got on the computer, and from around 9 o'clock that night to almost the next morning, I was just designing everything Mogul. And that's when Mogul was created. It wasn't Elite first. It was just Mogul. Shared it with a friend. He said, I like it, but it's just not, it's something else missing. And I didn't put it out. I just waited for about a couple of weeks, and I went to this hotel to drop off something to somebody, and I saw something. The guy said, well, you got to go over here. It's an Elite service. And when I went over there, that was it. I said, Mogul Elite.
Oh, okay. So how was that transition for you from that 10-year hiatus you had to getting back in? How was that? Was it hard? Was it easy to come in? Was it hard?
Well, at first I was scared.
Okay.
Like, I was scared because I felt like I've lost so much time, and nobody wants to hear me no more, and that's the woe is me concept, I was like, man, I've been out the game, and all these young guys is doing their thing, all these people is doing their thing, and I was like, I don't even want to get back in it, because I was still doing DH designs and graphics, clothing, designing for other people, and I was like, I'm better than them. Like, nobody can touch me, and it's not like putting nobody else down. I was like, nobody can touch me in this game. I'm getting back in. I was like, Coach, call my number. And it was like, boom, it was like, go. And I started designing the stuff, and the people was like, man, this stuff is tight. And this is over and over and over again. And it was like I never missed a beat.
Okay. So what does being a mogul mean to you?
Being a mogul is being very important. Being somebody that's powerfully minded, somebody that don't give up, someone who, despite adversity or despite calamities that come your way, it's about motivating yourself to move to the next level based off your intellect, your experience, and your Christian, your spirituality of what God has put in front of you. So it was perfect for me. And Elite is at the highest level. Okay. So that's why I was like Mogul Elite.
Okay, so how does keeping God first help you in business?
I mean, first and foremost, we all fall short of the glory. I'm still striving to be the best that I can be. I ask God every day for reference, because I don't cross all my I's and dot all my T's. I mean, but just knowing that I have an anchor, knowing I have an anchor and knowing that I have some stability, and I can call on God to allowed me to get to the next level, and having that spiritual background. Because a lot of people that don't know me don't know my spiritual background, and it's more to it, you know. So I have a little advantage, you know, when I'm faced with adversity, when I'm faced with calamity, I know how to deal with my situation a little better because I have God to, you know, give me the strength to continue.
Okay, so why is it important to establish relationships as a business owner?
Why is it important to establish relationships as a business owner with who?
Like, why is it important to make connections with people as a business owner?
Well, as a business owner, you want to make connections because credibility is everything. Because people are going to talk about you good or bad. And just like the Bible said, don't let your good be spoken evil. So most of the time, people is going to be speaking evil of you anyway. So it's important to establish relationships because someone is going to meet that person and that person. But the credibility part is everything. Because if I say go and talk to Monique, she's very good at what she do. Based off credibility and having that connection, more people are going to come to you. And that's how I kind of created DH Designs as a consultant. I'm more known as a consultant and a designer, like neck to neck. Because being a consultant, pulling people in, seeing people's vision, I turn other people's vision into a work of art. Like God has given me the ability to discern if a person even have it. Sometimes I don't even want to tell the person what God put in me to tell them, you know, in reference to their line, but being honest with them about their line and their name and how far they can take it. Just like with your dad with the official grind, I told him the truth. He told me asked me other stuff, and I told him based on my experience, I don't feel as though, you know, that's gonna work unless you put a lot into it.
Okay. So what are 3 tips you give to someone who wants to start a business but isn't sure where to start? Just 3 tips you would give personally from your experience.
First, you have to have faith.
Okay.
You know, faith is the substance of things hoped for, is the evidence of things not seen. You have to have faith beyond measure, and you have to be persistent, and you have to be confident in your efforts to pursue happiness. Because those 3 tips, faith, persistence, and just endurance, you know, those 3 tips, because without them, if you're going to start it, you don't need money. It's not all about money. The faith first, like you have to believe. You, like T.D. Jakes said, you have to maximize your own potential, you know, when you're trying to be the success that you need to be. So that's the main thing is faith.
Okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'm glad you asked me that. Because I was glad you didn't say, where do you see yourself in 10 years? 10 years sitting somewhere chilling and watching other people doing what they're doing. See, I'm 51, but I'm really, you know, I'm like a young 51 because of my style and the things that I do. You know, other than me, you know, people say me with my gray finally letting it grow in. Other than that, but when I shave it or I do whatever, it's more so people will feel like I'm younger because of my mindset. So, moving forward, the way that I would do it is I would just continue to keep pushing no matter what. In 10 years, in 5 years from now, I see myself running the business, allowing other people to, you know, come into the business and do the things that they got to do, and I basically be
behind the scenes.
I'm also a consultant and a person that's behind the scenes. I'm like, I was just telling her today that when someone comes out of football, no matter how big, or Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, these guys already have jobs lined up. Whether it's selling stuff, whether it's being an anchor guy, you know, an announcer, an analyst, but people will pay them. They're trying to pay Peyton Manning right now $10 million a season just to be an analyst. He have denied him every account. He has the money, but $10 million. When you say season, we ain't talking 365 days.
Right.
We're talking from September to December. But the reason why he don't want to do it, because he's like, man, I'm set. I don't want to go back there and just be talking. I'm set with Papa John's and everybody else. So I want to be in 5 years, I want to, stretch the limits.
Okay. So what's your favorite story in the Bible and why?
Well, there's so many.
Pick your top one, or just what comes to mind right now at this moment.
Well, the one that just hit my head, so as soon as you asked me that, was Job.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites. It's definitely Job.
And why?
Why? Because of the faith and the endurance that I told you about earlier, because of what he experienced. Because he not only experienced faith and endurance, but he experienced the calamities and the adversities that come at you. Then the rhetoric and the fact that people scorn you when you're down. People stepped on his head. I think it was his wife and told him, where's your God now?
Right.
Why the dog's licking his wounds and everything. And she said, you need to curse your God and die.
Right.
And Job said, yeah. No, I trust him, and he's like, I'm still gonna trust him. It's like, yet though they persecute me, and even as I speak, I feel anointed as I think about that, because it just makes me feel about everything that I've been through. I've been down and I've been out, and I've been out for the count, where I was like, God, you know what? I don't even want to live no more. I lost my mom last year, not this, basically September. So that all that ties into where God has taken me now, and it's a strong battle, but definitely Job. I've been called Job. I'm David. See, I like his stories too. Trust me, it's a couple, with him and his perseverance. Like when David and his men came back from a place called Ziklag and Smitten, and they were actually fighting the Amalekites. When they got back, the villages and all the homes were burned. But in the instance of the villages being burned, they took the wives and the kids. And why did they do that? They wanted to really torture David and his men by taking an intimacy, because a man loved his children and his wife and his family. But what David do? They over there thinking like, oh man, we gotta stone him. This joker done got us and all this. We done lost all this. It was him. It was him right there. Because that's how people do you.
Yeah.
When something go wrong, what they do? They point fingers. And when they did it, David, he got away from her. He went over there. He asked God, what should I do? Should I go after this troop? Should I overtake them? And God said, go after them, for surely you will overtake them, and you will return with not one, but all without fail. That's confirmation. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the faith and endurance. And the main thing, Monique, is it's the word. It's if you got the word, no matter what you've been through, because it's the word that actually destroys the yokes. And that's what that just like when David went to him, by having that. And Job, he trusted in the word of God. So when everything else is going wrong in my life, whether it's the business, whether it's the clothes, because my whole thing, it's really not even about Mogul Elite. It's about the souls and the lives that's going to be changed, and how many people are going to be affected by what Mogul Elite and all these different entities bring to the table in the event. Once all of it comes, this is just the vehicle. This is really just the beginning. Just like Joe always say, man, this is nothing. I like this brother. He like, man, this is nothing.
This is just the beginning.
And that's his favorite word. Like,
right.
Man, this is the beginning. He was like,
man, don't sweat this.
Don't worry about that. And he's very confident. I never really see him like really worried about it. Sometimes when you have that type of faith and confidence, it makes people worry. Like, but look at what's going on.
Yeah.
You saying don't worry, because we know that what happened, God comes in the nick of time, not in our time.
Right.
They say it was late in the midnight hour. He turned it around, and that's when when they thought that everything was going to go wrong. I think it was in the prison. And just when they thought it was over, boom. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, sorry. What is your favorite Bible verse and why? I know you probably got many stored up there, but like I said, what's the first one that comes to mind?
It is so many. I don't have a top 5, but one of them is one of the Bible verses is, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And that's like the story of my life. You know, I had to take that scripture right there and hold on to it when my mama died. Nothing else came to me, because losing your mother is really one of the most single devastating moments of your entire existence if you had that bond and relationship with your mother, even if you didn't, because the connection is there. So even when the person didn't like their mother, or they had didn't have a close relationship, once the bond is severed, you're gonna have to have something. You're gonna have to have something to rely on.
Right.
You know, you're very young, so you probably wouldn't know this movie, but it was a movie called Imitation of Life, and it was a girl that was very beautiful, and she was like really looked white.
Yeah, my dad always tells us about that movie.
You need to see it. And she had a very good mother, like a Mahalia Jackson looking lady. She was like trying to tell her daughter, and the daughter used to always say, "Get away from me, you're messing up my money," and da-da-da. And the last time she seen her mother, she said, "Well, I hate you. Why do you keep coming around?" And the lady said, "This is your mother." "Oh, nah, you fired. You black, huh?" And the lady said, "Look at you, I hate you." And she said, "I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm getting sick now. My health is not..." And the mom ended up dying. And at the end of the movie, the lady had realized what she'd done. And I mean, she had the biggest funeral. She's seen thousands of people in the glass casket, Mahalia Jackson, some of the funeral. She was just like, "This was my mother." She was trying to break through the barrier, crying. Had me and my daughter crying watching it. She said, "That's my mother." The God said, "You crazy. This is a black lady here." She said, "That's my mother." And she cried. And she got to the thing, and she realized, like, "Mom, I'm so sorry." You know? But that's in the end of that, she realized that you know, she was wrong, but I guess she repented in the end, but it was too late.
Right. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to give their life to Christ but they're not sure where to start? Like, say someone comes to you like, "Dave, man, I just need some help. What should I do?" What would you say to them?
Nike.
Just do it.
Yeah. That's it. It's simple as that.
Right.
I don't even see, and that's what I love about marketing. That's what I love about the ability to change the decisions of a person's mind. Nike and most of those people are already so submitted, and they have changed our concept of how we think based off their brand. See, God is a brand, but most people don't buy into the brand. Once you buy into the brand, you won't have to ask a question too much about what does this cost, how does this operate. Now, when we were young, my mother always used to say, because I had so many brothers, all I ever heard my mother say is, "Go in the room and get me a Pamper out the box." Even when I'm at the age I'm at now, when a baby is crying, a baby has to use the bathroom, somebody is saying, "Go get a Pamper." Why they never say, "Go get a diaper"? That's because Pampers by Johnson & Johnson has cemented the word Pampers in your mind so hard that you don't even let it go. So that's the same thing that Xerox did to us. We never said, "I got a copy of paper." We said, "Go Xerox that paper." So what I'm telling you is, when God get into your heart and into your mind, He cemented. So every time something happened, because He bring you back to the awareness of it, it's like that's confirmation. Because He's just the same way. He's the brand. But once He operate as a brand in your life, nothing else is going to seem like it's amazing. Like it's like with your dad. He's a brand that's connected in his heart, where he don't see defeat. He don't see like everybody else see it as a piece of paper. They copy it. He's seeing it as Xerox. Everybody else already see it this way. He's seeing it as that way. Why? Because God has became cemented in his heart and his mind. And that's how I feel. If someone wants to do it, if they want to get into it, it's no questions asked. Just Nike, man. And they can move forward. And whether they want to get into Christ, whether they want to start a clothing line, but that's the main thing. If they want to go there, they just got to do it. How do it feel? How's it gonna feel? What you think?
Then they never go do it.
No.
Did it hurt?
That.
Did it sting? That is funny. So yeah, just do it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we have Dave. Can you let them know how they can keep up with you on social media and where to come shop at for your Mogul Elite gear?
Okay, you can keep up with me on social media on @Mogul Elite Designs on Instagram. You can keep up with me on Facebook at The Mogul or David Hucks. Most of the time when you put Mogul Elite in, it'll bring up all the different brands. You can come and actually shop and get the Mogul Elite gear at 367 Main Street in Laurel, Maryland. That's 20707. The phone number is 240-264-6619.
All right, guys. Thank you.